Just one moment. CNET, are we good? Council? Get started. Good afternoon. My name is Adam Brumbaugh. I'm the College Township Manager. It is my pleasure to introduce Judge Cayley, who will be doing in the, Greg Cayley, who will be doing in the swearing. Let me try that again. Doing the swearing in of our newly elected members of council. Some have been reelected and others have been elected to a full term. And we're very pleased to my right, Tracy Mariner, Susan Trainer, and Richard Frank will be sworn in today. Judge, I will turn this over to you if you'd like to call folks up one at a time, or
we could do it en masse.
Or you could do it in mass, but if members of council would take their places beside Judge.
Do I need to speak into the microphone? No swearing.
We should have rehearsed.
Could you all please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that you will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that you will discharge the duties of council member in College Township, Center County with fidelity? Please state I do.
I do.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay. Susan, congratulations. And I'll get him later. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Greg.
You don't even get it.
We reserve the swearing. Hey, that's me.
Is your alarm meeting starting?
Yes.
Okay.
Los Angeles, California. Definitely not.
So congratulations to our newly sworn-in members of council. We look forward to working with you over the next 4 years. Thank you. Okay. Continuing on with our reorganization meeting, I will call to order the reorganization meeting of College Township Council this January 2nd, 2024. The first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. For those that are able, please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So the first order of business, well, we've already handled the temporary chair, so we're going to move right along into the second order of business, which would be nominations for the chair by the temporary chair. My mistake.
We got you.
So,
We got it.
We got you.
are there any nominations for the chair of council?
Mr. Temporary Chair, I nominate Dustin for chair.
Any other nominations? Move to close the nominations.
So moved.
Moved. All in favor of Dustin as chair, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good. Now I'm done.
That's a good thing.
Which is good for everyone.
And all that clap for you, Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Okay, so we move on to order of business for nominations for vice chair. Do we have nominations for vice chair? Anyone?
Mr. Chair, I would like to nominate Eric Renier for vice chair.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? Motion to close nominations?
Motion, so moved?
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Mr. Vice Chair, thank you. Okay, moving on to new business. NB1 is COG Committee and Regional Appointments. Hasn't closed in the packet. Okay, and I believe we need a motion to accept these appointments, do we?
These are listed as new business items, so yes, it would be appropriate
Yep.
to receive a A motion and a second, and then action.
We have a motion to accept the appointments.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the appointments as the COG committee appointments. We do these in three separate motions.
Do you want to do them in three separate? Let's do them in three separate.
Yeah,
That's a
okay.
good idea.
I move to approve the COG committee assignments as detailed in the agenda for executive finance, human resources, parks, capital, public safety, land use and community infrastructure, facilities, climate action and sustainability, parks and rec governance, and general forum.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's move on to regional and general committees. So this will be for LTAC. I'll just read them out just to make the motion easier. LTAC will be Susan Trainer, Spring Creek Watershed Delegate, Dustin Best, Center Area Cable Consortium, Tracy Mariner, CCMPO Coordinating, Eric Bernier, and CTIDA Liaison, Susan Trainer. Do I have a motion to approve these?
So moved.
Have a second? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to PSAT's voting delegates and as well as PML. So for PSAT to be Susan Trainer and for PML be myself, Dustin Best. All those in favor to approve these? Oh, oops, let's have a motions first.
Move to approve the voting delegates.
Okay, we have a second?
A second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so we're moving on to consent agenda. The consent agenda items for reorganization are lengthy, so I will read them out just for clarification. CA1 is the appointment of all College Township committee alternates with full force vote as needed. CA2 is appointment of Louis T. Glantz and Johnson as College Township Solicitor for 2024. CA3 is 2024 auditing services, Fiore, Fideli, Snyder, Carothers appointment of. CA4 is the reappointment of all College Township staff members to their current positions and the additional reappointments of the following for 2024. That'll be Adam T. Broombaugh as the Township Manager / Secretary and the Right to Know Officer, the Tax Collection Committee Delegate, the Privacy Official, and the Security Officer. Donald M. Franson will be the Local Traffic Advisory Committee, CCMPO Technical Committee until 12/31/2024, and Robert T. Long Jr. will be the Township Treasurer and the Tax Collection Committee First Alternate. Amy Kerner will be the Local Traffic Advisory Committee. Jeremiah Northridge will be the Local Traffic Advisory Committee, and Jennifer Snyder to the Assistant Township Secretary and Tax Collection Committee Second Alternate, and the Assistant Right to Know Officer. CA5 is the appointment of Trans Associates as the College Township Traffic Engineer, McCormick Taylor as the alternate College Township Traffic Engineer, and Keller Engineering as the College Township Consulting Engineers for 2024. CA6 will be the Township Manager Employment Agreement and Approval of. CA7 will be the Disposition of Records R-24-01 Approval of. CA8 is the appointment of the Sewage Enforcement Officers for 2024 as presented below. Walter Snyder will be the primary Sewage Enforcement Officer. Corey M. Warner will be a secondary. James M. Royer will be secondary. Robert E. Royer Jr. will be secondary. Brian K. Rowan will be secondary. Jonathan T. Long will be secondary. And Larson Horner will be the alternate Sewage Enforcement Officer. CA9 is the Authorities, Boards, and Commissions Matters, appointments and reappointments to authorities, boards, and commissions. Anthony Fergola will be the Industrial Development Authority. That appointment is from 2024 through 2028. Earl Moore, the Local Traffic Advisory Committee, 2024 through 2027. Joe Davidson to the CATA Board, that is 2024 through 2028. Dave Lawson, the Vacancy Board, 2024, that is a one-year appointment. Ed Dara to the Planning Commission from 2024 to 2027. Matthew Fenton to the Planning Commission from 2024 to 2027. Ash Toumiance to the Planning Commission from 2024 to 2027. Martin McGann to the CT Water Authority, 24 to 2028. Sean Party, the Zoning Hearing Board from 2024 to 2028. Dave Schulte, the Parks and Recreation Committee from 2024 to 2028. Ned Brockloff to the Parks and Recreation Committee from 2024 to 2028, Bill Kaplan to the CNET Board from 2024 to 2026, and Frank Malott to the UAJA Board from 2024 to 2028, and Lee Murphy as a Spring Creek Watershed Commission alternate for a one-year appointment in 2024. CA10 is an appointment of the following financial institutions as depositories for College Township funds for 2024. The First National Bank of Pennsylvania, PA Local Government Investment Trust, and the Jersey Shore State Bank. CA11 is a setting of mileage reimbursement rate at the federal IRS rate. CA12 consists of the following: the College Township rates, fees, and penalties schedule. A is the planned residential development. B is the sewage disposal system. C is signs. D is solid waste collection. E is driveway permit and rights-of-way permits. F is plan review fees. G is zoning. H is fines for violations. I is administration fees. J is residential rentals. K is keeping of chickens. And L is sidewalks. Do I have any members of council wishing to pull any of the consent items? Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, and we have none opposed. All right, that concludes our reorganization agenda, and we have a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right. We are adjourned. All right, moving on. All right, I will officially call to order the College Township Council regular meeting for Tuesday, January 12th. And we will move on to public open discussion. For any items not on the agenda, is there any members of the public that are online or in person that wish to speak? Okay. New agenda items. Are there any members of council wishing to add agenda items? Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
In light of the recent court case, do we need to modify or add clarifying language to that one on what can and can't be brought forward as a new agenda item?
If I may, I believe that will be appropriate, but I'm still waiting for some additional clarification. I would continue to add, as we have previously agreed to do so, until we make that change.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to plans. So P1 is Winfield Heights Phase 2 Final Subdivision Plan, Meadow Sweet Drive, tax parcel 19-004A-100A. Lindsay, I think you're starting.
That's me. Thank you, Chairman. This is the Winfield Heights Phase 2 Final Subdivision Plan in front of you today. In 2017, a preliminary plan was approved for Winfield Heights and 3 total phases. Currently, we're looking at Phase 2, which is the top there of your screen. This is the Hawcoon development, and the address is Meadow Sweet Drive. Zoning district is R1, single-family residential, and the proposal is for 22 lots. And the phase will also connect Farm Hill Drive and extend Sun Haven Lane. There are a total of 60 lots in the whole development. 22 of those lots are in Phase 2. The total parkland dedication for the whole development is about 3.5 acres, including an 8-foot wide walking path. Next slide, please. Here's just a blow-up of, you can see Phase 2 and how Sun Haven and how Farm Hill Drive are going to connect now with this new subdivision. Go ahead, Mike. And this is just a blow-up of the area. If you want to take a look at one of our stormwater basins with the gravel near it. Staff has had the opportunity to review this. Again, this is a final plan coming in, so typically with final plans, preliminary's already been approved by and reviewed by the Planning Commission and Council, so final plans only come to Council. And the next slide, please. Oh, that's okay. We had a few outstanding comments, which included, they wanted to expand the development of sidewalks for 7 years within the development. We asked them to bring that down to 5. And now note 10 just needs to be corrected because 7 is written and 5 is numerical. So we asked them to revise that. Also, there are some landscaping notes that we wish them to make a little bit more clear for staff. And the other comment is about delete the weeping holes and 2B areas from the inlet drain detail on page 17. So I feel we did a pretty good detailed review of this plan. And at this point, it's time for council, if they so wish, to move forward and approving this plan. And I believe we have the letter in front of you from Mr. Franson outlining the rest of the outstanding comments that are typical with our plan reviews.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, do we have a representative in the audience? Is there
Yes.
any additional information that you would like to present to council at this point?
I don't think I have much to add, but just as,
If you could just give your name.
yeah, my name's Eric Cannon with Hall Baker Engineering, and our client, again, is Hawcoon Development. This is the final phase for this development, and we do have the NPDS extended from the previous phases, so that's in place. There's no really additional information other than the 22 lots.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you could just remain there in case any council members have any questions. So council, let's go ahead. Eric, you want to start?
Sure. Eric, or staff, the northeast corner of the plan shows it shows on the plan an easement, and it looks like a walkway connecting to an existing easement right away in Penn Hills. The note on the plan in the top left corner doesn't specify the type of, is this being put in, or is it just the easement being shown?
There'll be a walking path put in.
Okay.
And that property that goes into the adjoining development has been purchased by Hawcoon Development.
Okay, so it doesn't specify the type. Are we talking asphalt?
No, it's like a trail surface aggregate, as previously installed around the original basin in Phase 1.
Okay. And nothing is in Penn Hills right now,
That's correct.
just the easement? So you've purchased that in order to put the whole thing in?
That's correct. That previously was a 50-foot wide,
Yeah,
being reserved for a potential road. And after we submitted, I think it was preliminary, Hawcoon purchased that.
okay. But the plan is whatever the surface is to be put in off-site there at Penn Hills at the same time as in Phase 3?
Correct. We will make a connection to Yukon Horse Road.
Okay. Bottom corner, I guess southwest corner, same situation, only that is noted as gravel on the plan. Is that the same type of service? Because that's already in, right?
Yeah, there is a portion that extends down to Meadow Street. We are just extending that into the development, into the sidewalk, connection in Phase 2.
Okay, so the piece between Lot 44 and Lot 45 is what's getting built? Just the piece between those two lots?
Correct.
Because the other part's already built?
Yeah, correct. You can kind of see the existing trail,
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
lighter than the darker one, so we will make that connection.
It looks like it's narrower. Is that just the scale? It's going to be 8 feet between the two lots, but when it hits the already built part's 10 feet?
It could be. It's not well defined in the field.
Okay.
So,
The
I think
plan
it's-
says 10-foot wide gravel walkway in the Stearns Crossing part. the part between the two lots says proposed 8-foot wide gravel walkway.
We're proposing 8 feet wide.
Okay. And the entire thing, the part that's already built and what you're going to build is gravel?
Correct.
Okay, is that the same as what's proposed, that aggregate surface, is that just a fancy name for compact gravel?
Well, that's something Penn State came out with, a TSA gravel surface.
Okay,
Yeah, the trail surface aggregate was developed by Penn State, and it's a better surface than just plain 2A gravel. The old walking surfaces was something called AASHTO number 10, and Penn State, the trouble with it is when it washes out, it's a mess. They came up with this new aggregate 15 years ago. It's not so new now, but it's far superior to what the old AASHTO number 10 was.
okay. Then why not put that down there between?
That's what will be going in there.
Okay, so what's going in the northwest corner and the southwest corner will be the same?
Correct.
It'll be there.
It'll be all a TSA aggregate surface. Connecting to the concrete sidewalks that are adjacent to all the proposed roadways.
And then the gravel it'll connect to the existing 10-foot wide gravel path at the very bottom left corner.
That is correct.
So we'll go from that aggregate to the regular old gravel,
Whatever is there.
whatever's there.
It may be AASHTO number 10 existing, because that's fairly old. That was before the TSA became commonplace.
Okay, then just two follow-up points to that, and then that's all I have. In the couple of years that I've been on here, we've run into situations where people live next to right-of-ways, and then all of a sudden we go in and the developer goes in and puts a path. I'm just noting that. We've run into that before. They don't pay attention to the deed, or they don't pay attention to land development plan. So that's just a heads up that we're going to have people who, possibly in Penn Hills, who don't think anything is there. They might have their stuff in there or all that kind of stuff. This would be done as part of the subdivision plan, or will this be done when those lots get developed?
But we will do it as the initial infrastructure goes in.
Okay, like the roads in phase 2?
Correct.
Okay. All right, that's just a heads up. There's nothing we can do. We're just be prepared for those phone calls. And then in the bottom left corner, I'm going to take staff's word for it, because we have gravel walk paths in other parts of the township, and you can't push a stroller on it, a kid can't ride a bike on it, weeds grow up in the middle. Am I to understand that this new surface will be,
It's an ADA surface, so
Okay.
yes, you can use it far superior to what was
Okay.
in the old days.
the reason I bring that up is that I'm assuming maintenance will be handed over to the HOA, and if the HOA does nothing, we won't see weeds growing up in the middle of it and it washing out and.
Oh, I'm not gonna say that either. If nothing's done and it's not maintained, it eventually will deteriorate, but
Yeah. Well,
not to the same speed as plain gravel 2A or even AASHTO number 10.
So it'll look better than plain gravel and function better than plain gravel, but in all likelihood, not as well as asphalt.
True.
Okay. I have personal experience with
Yeah.
this. There's no guarantee the HOA will do anything to maintain it, so we kind of have to be thinking, I don't want to say dummy-proofing this, but,
Well, like in Fogelman Fields, there's some of those paths, when that was originally built 20-some years ago, it was all AASHTO number 10. That was before TSA, but some of it's in great shape still. Some areas have experienced frequent washouts, and actually we ended up doing some bituminous where it was problematic, but there are some places where it's held up really well, and that's.
so when you say bituminous, we as a township went back in after the fact then and put in bituminous?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, well, that's where I'm going. And I'm going to end there. I'll just see what other folks have to say. My concern is that I know I'm sensitive to pervious coverage, and I'm all about impervious, but I'm guessing this AASHTO is really not that impervious if it holds up. So I'm just wondering out loud if we're better off long-term to actually put asphalt in there.
Well,
And that's all I have.
Yeah, if I may, to follow up on Eric's point, I mean, this is the final land development for Phase 2. Would it not be appropriate to add a note to the plan that talks about HOA maintenance of the easement and the trail?
That's,
Yeah, we certainly could add that.
If it's not already there, and I don't know that.
I know there's some the TSA in Phase 1, it goes down to the basin, and they've had to go in and maintain a couple areas where the water's going across and causing some washouts. Nothing major, but I know they have been doing repairs there where and when as needed.
Yeah, I would imagine, this is mostly for posterity. In all likelihood, the initial phase, the initial years of the development, there likely would not be a lot of issues. I'm glad to hear that those that have occurred have been addressed already. But this would more or less be for going into the future, something that the township has the ability to point back to the HOA to remind.
and we do, it's note 24 on the plan that all walkways, bike paths, drainage easements, and stormwater facilities occupying land designated as common or open space per the approved preliminary plan shall be maintained by the developer until the Winfield Heights Homeowners Association is formed. The association shall be responsible for all maintenance after such time.
So if staff is comfortable with the higher maintenance approach of riding herd on the homeowners, then I can accept that. But, to me, it just seems this is an area where a harder surface may be less headache down the road. But again, that's just me and my experience, walking the township on these things. So I'll let others chime in.
Okay. Rich?
No, I just follow up on Eric's point, that we're using TSA at our regional parks. And Whitehall, which isn't even open yet, they've already identified areas that they've moved to blacktop.
And we've seen
Because of
what's
the
involved in
continued.
Oak Hall also with
Yeah.
the grade and.
Yeah, so, it is a touch and go. You can repair it every year, you can pave it and be done with it, and hopefully the HOA would make good decisions on that part. So
Okay. Susan?
The only question I had was about the gravel path. It's described as a gravel path in the notes, was just to understand the purpose of the gravel plan. I'm new to looking at final land development plans, and so the connection to Penn Hills, is that standard to connect out a subdivision to another subdivision to create more connectivity? I just wanted to understand the purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that,
That was well done.
Yes.
I think that, considering the pedestrian facilities master plan and all of the connections, this is one of the area that isn't really well connected. So I think these are good opportunities
Great.
for those connections. Yeah.
I didn't know if there might be some other purpose. And I did have a question about the gravel. It wasn't nearly as technical as yours was, so the question was helpful. I
The
appreciate it.
connectivity is more a philosophical issue that this council has adopted over years.
Right.
Interconnects, and it does align well with just sound planning principles. Mobility, equity.
Well, it's helpful to hear the philosophical and the technical, so thank you.
Okay. Tracy?
That was the questions that I had. It was already asked, so.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything further. Thank you. Staff, anything additional? Okay, we have a recommended motion, and I think what you had addressed is already in there for the HOA maintenance. So.
If that's the approach that staff and the other council members are comfortable with versus conditioning the approval on that being asphalt, those being asphalt.
If I may add, in Phase 1, we had a section that was rather steep, so we chose to put asphalt in the steep section. And then the other parts of the loop is gravel. And I would prefer that we do the gravel at this time and allow the HOA to be able to easily repair that. I can repair gravel, I can't repair asphalt. So I would have to hire a company with the equipment, so I think that would be an increased cost to a future HOA versus just doing the gravel.
Well,
That would be our request.
maybe I didn't make it, I was operating under the assumption, and I thought I made it clear, that asphalt would be little to no maintenance. Gravel would be guaranteed maintenance, regardless of who does it. But again, if staff is comfortable with the task of riding herd on the HOA to keep up with the inevitable maintenance that will be required once the developer is off, out of the picture, potentially, I suppose, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would add, staff is prepared to address that with the HOA. I think at this point, this boils down to a preference of council relative to what you would like to see in conjunction with the final land development plan. But staff is perfectly capable. We monitor these areas in other locations. We're well aware of the issues that arise, but we have, over the years, worked with a variety of HOAs to address a number of different types of issues related to maintenance concerns. So we're certainly capable of doing that. I think really at this point, it becomes a preference of council.
Let's just take a quick straw poll then, I guess, and get a consensus on council members. Are we okay with as written, essentially as Adam had outlined and Eric had outlined, that, that would be on the HOA then to maintain the TSA, or we wanted to, move ahead and modify, propose modifying the plan with asphalt versus TSA? Where do you stand?
I can go either way.
Yeah.
Based on
Yeah.
what Adam said, I'm more comfortable now with the TSA approach than the asphalt. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know the history.
Okay.
I just know that like what we've seen at Whitehall and what we've actually seen at Oak Hall.
Rich, you as written?
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
I'm comfortable as written.
Same.
Okay, good. So then we have a recommended motion. Thank you, Eric. Good discussion. Anyone's comfortable making that motion?
Mr. Chair, I recommend council move to approve the Winfield Heights Phase 2 final subdivision plan dated November 17th, 2023, and last revised December 11th, 2023, subject to the following conditions. Within 90 days from the date of approval by council, all conditions must be satisfied, final signatures must be obtained, and the plan must be recorded with the Center County Recorder of Deeds office. Failure to meet the 90-day recordation time requirement will render the plan null and void. 2, pay all outstanding review fees. 3, address to the satisfaction of the township engineer any outstanding plan review comments from staff. 4, fully comply with College Township Code Section 180-12. 5, post surety as approved by the township engineer prior to recordation. 6, record the approved DSA-ME for Phase 2. 7, all conditions must be accepted in writing within 7 days from the date of the conditional approval letter from the township engineer.
Do you have a second for that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, we call the question. All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please say aye. Aye. And do we have any opposed? All right, none opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to reports. Manager's update.
Nothing to report over the Christmas and New Year holidays.
Okay. And we don't have any COG regional county and liaison reports because no one met, right? All right.
Unless you count Whitehall Road.
Did you want? No? No. Okay. Staff, any other reports? No? No assistant township manager report today?
No
Okay.
assistant township manager.
All right, DEIB, what do we have?
Yeah, a handful of things as we begin the new year. I just want to call attention to January is National Human Trafficking Prevention Month. That corresponds with January 11th is Human Trafficking Awareness Day. January 15th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and January 16th is Religious Freedom Day. Those are all the specific dates in advance of our next meeting on the 18th.
Okay. Thank you. All right, council, anything to add? All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. CA1 consists of the minutes. Oh, there are none. No CA1. CA2 consists of the correspondence and receipt and approval of the following: a letter from Ratu dated December 22nd, 2023 regarding time extension to the UAJA biosolids upgrade project to April 15th, 2024, and there are no action items. Any members of council wish to pull the one's consent agenda item? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries, none opposed. No old business items, and we have new business. One is the RACP grant to Clearwater Conservancy, and I think you're leading this one out, Adam, right?
Actually, I'm going to defer to Mike
Okay.
on this one, other than to say that we were contacted by representatives of Clearwater Conservancy, who are in the process of preparing and applying for a RCAP grant, or whatever, however we say that. And Mike has followed up on this particular request, and I simply would remind everyone that we have done and have been sponsors for previous grants of this nature in the recent past. So Mike?
Oh, you framed it very well, Adam. Before I jump in, I do want to introduce, we have a couple members representing Clearwater here in attendance this afternoon. And I'll do a quick overview of the project itself, and then I'm going to turn it over to them. But I'll just quickly introduce, we have Clearwater Conservancy Board Member Ford Stryker in the audience, as well as Interim Executive Director Dawn-Ann Stoykovi, who are both here representing Clearwater Conservancy, and will provide a little bit more context to the project specifically. But Adam framed it up very well. We were contacted recently by Clearwater about their intent to pursue a redevelopment assistance capital program, RCAP, RACP, whatever we want to call the acronym, in the amount of $3.5 million. This funding is going to be proposed to be applied towards the repurpose and renovation at the Rockenbeck property, and it's something we've been talking about at some length here at council as it works through the land development, subdivision and land development process. I won't go into the details on the project. I'm going to leave that to the representatives. As Adam framed, the RACP grant does require a municipal partner for the grant to serve as the grantee on behalf of the applicant. College Township fulfilled that role most recently for the Summit Park project. It turns out to be a pretty seamless project for us, other than administrative tasks, especially when the applicant themselves is working with a sub-consultant, which is the case in this instance, that they will be working with Delta Development, who we have also worked with in the past on the Summit Park project. Essentially what it boils down to is we serve basically as a pass-through for the funding. We execute some administrative tasks, the money comes through our offices and is quickly turned back over to the applicant as they walk through the required processes. As part of the RACP process, the next step is a submission of a formal and complete RACP application to the Office of Budget. Clearwater Conservancy and Delta Development are in the process of pulling that application together ahead of the deadline of January 12th. In order to submit that application within the time frame, the items that are attached as part of your agenda need to be properly executed by the township as the grantee of this on this project. The first is the resolution to file. This is the official resolution from council authorizing the submission of the RACP application and designating Adam Brumbaugh in his capacity as township manager as the official to execute all documents and agreements between the Township Office of Budget and Clearwater Conservancy. The second is a statement of compliance acknowledgement. This is simply a statement from all parties involved with the application acknowledging that they are acknowledging and agreeing, to the compliance requirements under the grant. Third is a worker protection form. This is a statement from College Township as the grantee certifying compliance with Pennsylvania's unemployment compensation law, workers' compensation law, and all applicable Pennsylvania state labor and workforce regulations. And the final are three forms. These are forms, the RDA 300, 301, and 302 are forms outlining the sources and uses of the RACP funds. What we're asking of council today is that you approve item A, which is resolution R2414, which is the resolution to file, and also authorize Adam Brumbaugh in his capacity as township manager to complete items B, C, and D. And with that, I will turn this over to both Ford and Dawn-Ann, and they can provide a little bit of context on the project specifically.
Thank you for having us here this afternoon. Appreciate your time. I'm Diane Stacovi. I'm the interim executive director. It was Deb Nardone. She left in October. I'm filling in until we find a new person. So, as you know, Clearwater is an accredited land and water trust. We've been around since 1980. We have many easement properties in the community, not just here in College Township, but also throughout Center County, Huntington County, Blair County. So, as you know, we're currently located in the old Patton Township building, and we're excited to move to College Township. So, if you look in the booklet that I've given you, there's an artist rendition. This isn't probably what it will end up looking like in the end, but we plan to use the barn and the farmhouse in the work that we're doing. We will do our own landscape work so that we can use it for demonstration gardens. We can also, we're anticipating putting solar panels on it, showing, we don't intend to go for LEED certified, but we will also show good practices. So that's the part that I'll go with, and then I'll let Cord take it from here and talk. He's working more with the rack, race it, whatever it is. We're in 20 different ways.
Yeah, good afternoon. Ford Stryker, I volunteer with Clearwater Conservancy, and I'm helping them out with a project. So, yeah, as Mike indicated, we're applying for a RACB grant. I certainly appreciate the letter of support that you guys approved back in December. The deadline for the application is January 12th. We're scrambling around to get other letters of support. We've got quite a few lined up. So the overall project budget's around a little over $7 million. We're asking for a grant of about $3.5 million. We already have a commitment from a foundation for over $3 million, plus some other private grants. Clearwater also purchased the property a number of years ago for about $450,000, which can be used as matching funds. So we already have all of the matching funds that we need committed, so that's a good place to be. And we're going to be really busy, lobbying for this project starting in January once we've submitted it. I wanted to thank staff for the help, with this, and I would hope that if you approve this, we really appreciate your support. I'm happy to take any questions on the process, or as Mike mentioned, we did retain Delta Development, who's worked with the township before, and also a number of other nonprofits in the center region. And frankly, having their help is really great, because they know all the ins and outs of the process and how to fill out all the paperwork. And so they're going to help us on the front end doing application and a little bit of lobbying, I guess, and then hopefully we'll get a grant, but they'll come in on the back end and help us fill out all the forms and make sure we comply with everything. And this process is fairly involved, so there's a lot of paperwork involved. So anyway, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Okay, council, questions or comments for staff and for Ford and Donann? Anything? Rich, you want to go?
Sure. No questions, no comments. All the cool kids want to go to College Township, so you're just getting it on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done this before and successfully, and so this is a great use of these funds.
Yeah, I'm in full support of this. Absolutely. Glad to have you guys located in College Township, with a stone's throw away from Spring Creek there, where there's been a lot of work done right there in that area too, so it's excellent. Susan?
Nope, fully support this and appreciate the conservation efforts that you're making, and it'll be good to have you in College Township.
Great, thank you.
Same.
Tracy?
Same.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, Ford, you're not getting out of here without me.
I saved you the last.
There's a reason. There's a reason. Yeah, I've been in the Patton Township office. I can see why you're happy to move pretty much anywhere. The good work you do, I think, often flies under the radar, and I just wanted to just take a moment to personally thank you for everything that you've done in the not just College Township, but just everywhere. the fact that you've lined up the local match, I mean, speaks to the breadth of support that Clearwater has in this community. And I couldn't be happier. Whether you were coming to College Township or not, I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for that and recognize, and both of you, and Ford willing to volunteer bring his skill set in as a volunteer. Again, it speaks to the breadth of support I think the community has. The only question I have is, when will the grant awards be announced? This one doesn't have a
I'm not
timeline?
sure, who knows what goes on in Harrisburg, right? So I don't want to, anyway, we apply in January. I think the rhythm would be, by the summer. I would hope, May, June, sometime by the end of the fiscal year, I would think. But again, that's, I don't have a crystal ball. In the past, I think that's kind of when the rhythm has been. Actually, this year, though, this fiscal year, it's later, because typically they would start the rounds in the fall, so people would have already applied maybe in August or September, and there'd be an announcement by the end of the calendar year. But I think because new administration, issues in Harrisburg, things kind of got delayed, so I'm thinking it's probably pushed everything back 6 months. But
Okay.
everybody I've talked, no one that I've talked to has had any kind of good idea about the schedule, so.
Well, certainly engaging Delta increases your odds, so best of luck, and I, as noted, fully support anything we can do.
Well, I appreciate your comments, thank you.
Okay, all right, council. So I think we could do this in one motion, unless anyone wants to read the resolution in the record. Do you want me to do that?
I don't think there's a
I don't think
need
it's
unless you
needed
prefer
either.
to do that.
Yeah. Okay. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Resolution R-24-14 as presented, and includes approval of the township managers facilitating.
You authorize Adam Brumbaugh, Township Manager, to complete items B, C, and D per
That's
the
it.
agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right,
You did that?
did you?
Say that again.
It's number 2, so the action requested, you could read it right, number 2.
Okay. To approve item A and authorize Adam Brumbaugh, Township Manager, to complete items B, C, and D
Per the agenda.
per the agenda.
Yep.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
all right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Susan.
I'm going to work on that motion making.
All right, moving on. Okay, so we do not have any staff informants, right?
No staff informatives.
Council, staff, other matters. Yes.
Just a basic question for council members on behalf of Jen. She's asking who was going to be attending the PSATS conference in April. It's April 14th through the 17th. Let me see, Susan, Tracy.
Great.
Any others? Rich?
Yeah, we usually split.
Yeah, I can be down there for a day. I think this year will be on the front end, and you're usually the back end.
The key is that.
Reservations.
Yeah, the reservations open on the 9th, and
She wants to
so
get that.
we'll need to know, we have the 2 that are planning to be there, I'm assuming for the duration.
I will.
Put us
For the
both
whole
down for
schedule.
that thing.
We just need to be sure that we can nail that down.
Nobody would be
so that
heartbroken if we give.
register
Yeah,
appropriately.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Great.
All right, sounds good, thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. We're adjourned.
Nice.